3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome back, Patchwork audience. It's Daniel Weaver, your host, and I'm here today with Isabelle. How are you doing today, Isabelle?
I'm doing good. Hi. Thanks for having me.
What time is it over there? You're in the Netherlands.
It is currently 7 p.m. Well, to be exact, 7:23.
That is just phenomenal because it's not that time where I am. It's actually 2:24, which is staggering. But I guess first question is, how much have you been forced to accustom to American time, talking to a bunch of Americans?
Yeah, quite a bit actually. Now that I have my own apartment, my sleep schedule has definitely adjusted quite a bit to the American standard, where I don't sleep occasionally up until like 3 or 4 a.m. maybe even. But that's the wonderful sacrifice that I'll make to be in call with the wonderful people of Patchwork.
For context, Patchwork is doing aggressive business talks and conversations.
Oh, yeah.
Late into the evening, we're just rattling through really big ideas. And speaking of big ideas, you have an album on the way. Can you just tell me a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, it's an album that I've had in the works for, I think, 2 years now. It was originally not intended to be as big as it has become, because at this point, I think it's around 45 minutes, and there have been 10 different people that have worked on this album. A lot of collaboration. Yeah, it's crazy. It's a very personal album to me, because a bunch of the subjects delve into like my personal life, whether it's my upbringing or current events or just beautiful things that inspire me, you know.
Thinking on, well, first, what's the album called?
Oh yeah, it's called Line the Ground, Silver Sky.
Where did the name come from?
I was trying to sort of find a poetic way of the name of the album is also one of the tracks on the album, and that song is all about whether like you're moving through life, sometimes everything can come crashing down onto you, but you sort of have to push yourself to go through these moments. And lining the ground, silver sky, the idea of it is like the moon, stars, rain from the sky. If everything were to sort of crash down upon Earth, it would line the ground, essentially, like lining something. It was sort of a poetic, trying to find a poetic way to convey that aspect, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And this came from the song. At what point in the 2-year process did this song come about?
Oh yeah, I think it was one of the last songs. Honestly, I was really struggling with even coming up with an album title. I had really like simple names at first, whether it was lyrics that repeated or like a sort of overarching theme. Usually it was like one word, but at one point I really wanted to have something that was sort of poetic and had its own meaning, whether or not it was even part of the lyrics. That song, the title of it is never mentioned in the song. It was originally called All Falls Down, because that's a lyric that repeats over and over, but I really just wanted to find something that would sound beautiful to me, rather than just being a lyric.
Right. And it being the last, or one of the last songs, was that theme there the whole time, and that sort of just like crystallized it? at what point did you realize the album was what it was? Like the spark or spirit was there?
Yeah, that's a good question. At one point, I think I had a bunch of demos that I had worked out to a certain extent, but they all really needed like additional pieces, whether it was extra guitar or extra vocals. At one point, I realized that pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about on an album was there, and that like writing more music would just be sort of unnecessary at that point, because everything that I wanted to be there was pretty much there, and having like so many like awesome people add instruments to it really sort of cemented that thought, like, yeah, this is what I want to sort of give to the world at this point. I was really struggling at first, like, this has to be an album. I really wanted to have music out there, because the only music that really had out was like demos since 2023, and I really wanted to have something out that would sort of show everyone, like, this is the sound that I want to associate with.
Had you, when you were making those demos, had you experimented with making more heavily produced things? Because a lot of the things on the album now are like, there's a lot put into it. There's a lot of layers. Were you only making demos prior to the album?
For sure, yeah. I really hadn't given it much thought. The idea of recording like a full song with drums and bass and whatnot was really not something that I thought I was capable of doing, I would even say. I was really inspired by everyone that I got to meet through, at first, my own record label, and then whenever I met, you and others, I was like, wow, everyone really puts so much thought and effort into their music, and I really want to sort of sit down and do that same thing for my own music. And when I sort of realized that, wait, this isn't as difficult as I made it out to be in my head, it really sort of clicked at one point, and was like, okay, I will take all these demos that I've collected over the years and find the ones that I connect with the most. And through a lot of deliberation and careful selecting, I eventually found, like, I think is 12 or 13 tracks now. Mm-hmm. that were just like, that's it for me. One of the tracks, even, I think I made after having said that I was done with the album.
Just kept going.
It just kept going, and I needed to sort of say, this is it. And that's that. Yeah, I'm just really happy with what it ended up being. A lot more produced and a lot more like the sound that I wanted it to be.
I guess this is less of a question, more of a comment, but I feel like with your songs, you've had I don't even know if I'd say turnaround, because it's just kind of you adding more things to what you already had, but the quickest from, yeah, I think here's a few things I'd like to turn into songs, to having just the most fully realized sounding, like, oh wow, you're like, oh, you sound much further ahead. You sound like you've been making fully produced things with all the bass and drums and all the other things, to where it's crazy for a first release. It's an insane first release. It's absurd.
Right. Yeah. I think that sort of those type of songs really, like, that only happened in the past maybe half year or so. Mm-hmm. Everything, all of these ideas were there, but I could never sort of put them on paper. I think I was really struggling with the idea of even just recording in general, like playing a guitar into my mic rather than just putting my phone down and just doing random things. But it would never, like a song would never grow. It would always just be a thought, and I would forget about them. And I was seeing like, oh, this is like a really small demo and turned into like a full arrangement with so many like intricate details and yeah, it's really fulfilling.
And what was the transition like going from that previous project of yours where it was a lot more improvisation based and then leading to fully structured, written out, sitting down, penning out a big, finished, definitive thing?
Right. I don't know. Initially, even with those demos in 23, I never really intended to put those anywhere, honestly. It wasn't, like I just felt like, okay, this is a nice collection of songs that means something. But whenever I got to know more people that like actually worked on music rather than just listening to a bunch of stuff, like talking to people and how they record things and what processes they go through really made me realize, okay, this is how I should tackle this issue that I have with recording. And it sort of happened really, really fast, where I was like, okay, I've recorded one song now, and this is like super fun. There was sort of like a no way back point where it's like, okay, now I'm just gonna do this, and don't want to look back at the old ways of doing it. I occasionally do like a demo recording on my phone, but if I find something that I enjoy, I'll immediately like record it properly.
Mm-hmm. And it's come up that you were inspired a lot by who you were working with. Prior to Patchwork, you had Dying Dutchman. How did you come to make Dying Dutchman, and what got you into the world of wanting to make cassette releases and vinyl?
Right. I don't know. It's been 2-3 years at this point. I initially, it was sort of a moment where I guess my music taste just transitioned into more of the artists that we know in the indie scene, I guess. I got into collecting cassettes around that time, and I started talking to Max that runs Gizmoix Records in Germany. And after speaking with him for a while, he said, honestly, if you were to try and set up your own record label, I think you could definitely do it. It's not as people make it out to be a lot more difficult at the start, but you should really try and see if it's something you enjoy. And I think that immediately clicked. He asked me, like, do you know certain artists that you really like that have never done any physical media? And I thought of a Tasmanian band called Shoe. I said, if you can land a release with them, then that has to be the start of my record label. Like I wouldn't want to pass that opportunity, and we landed that opportunity, and that was basically the start of doing everything that I've loved Dying Dutchman for. It grew out to be so much bigger than I ever anticipated, and I got to meet so many awesome people and make so many awesome friends. It's like whenever I look back to that period of time, I could not envision a life without like having had the opportunity to like run that record label. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Did you? How'd you find out about Gizmo? Was that through Bandcamp or Spotify or something?
I think it was straight through the artist. I'm not entirely sure which artist it was anymore, but I think they just had like a release on their Instagram page saying, okay, we're doing this and this physical. You can buy it through either Gizmoix or I think it was Hunka Plastic. And
I see.
semi-collective records at that point, and I just started talking with Max about what made him start a record label, because I was quite intrigued about being able to run your own DIY thing at that point.
And was it just you the whole time running Dying Dutchman? Never had any assistance?
Yeah, no. It was me from the beginning to the very end.
And yeah, could you speak a bit on the end of Dying Dutchman?
Right, that was a quite a dramatic one. What happened was that I was visiting a bunch of awesome people, including you, in the beautiful Pittsburgh. And whenever you fly from, well, I guess it was too far this time for Instagram to not think it was suspicious, but whenever I landed in America, they were like, wait, you changed your location really fast. Are you sure you're still the person that's supposed to be logged into this account? So I had to re-log, and I thought, well, that's fine, but I had a 2-factor authentication set up, and I guess that whenever I switched phones that never correctly synced or something, and the codes just didn't work, so I couldn't get back into the account. During the trip in Pittsburgh, I tried countless things to get back into the account, to the point where I could, and had there was like a business platform Meta has, and you can still post like hard posts through that. So what I try to do was make a post with my face on it to hopefully sort of pass the AI filter and say like, hey, I'm this person, please let me back into my account. But yeah, Meta is notoriously bad for getting back to you ever. I think I sent pretty much every possible form or email that I could have done and never heard anything back. So it was to the point where, well, I'll have to sort of restart all this social media presence that I have, but also here's a other record label with all my friends, and the idea of sort of fusing that together and becoming this almighty DIY force was also really awesome. So it was a perfect moment to pivot into that, I think.
It was the most unfortunate of circumstances for Dying Dutchman.
Yeah,
it was
very
convenient for starting new things.
Right.
Thinking more about songs, a question I had was, do you start any, because all the songs are in English on the album, do you start any of them in Dutch, or what's it like writing songs in English?
Yeah. I don't think I've ever even written a song in Dutch. My songwriting has pretty much always been the same, where I just find a certain chord structure that clicks, and I tend to repeat that quite often. That's also something that does happen throughout songs a lot, because I like to have a sort of a motif that's there. And I would just sort of start singing random things over it and see what clicks. I usually have a lot of those phone recordings where it's like, okay, I have 10 recordings of the same song, but it's all different lyrics, and I'll pick up like from the first 3 recordings, oh, this section sounds right to me, or this section, and then eventually I'll have the bare bone structure of the lyrics, and then I'll see like, okay, I want to sort of convey a story in here, so I'll substitute certain parts, and eventually through all that sort of improvisation comes a track that has like lyrics that actually make sense, because that is an issue with not being a native English speaker. A lot of those improvisation lyrics tend to not make like total sense sometimes grammatically. It's just like whatever comes to mind is like, I just blurt that out, I guess.
I guess this is more of a language question. Are are you thinking differently? Or like the free associations that you'd make between words when you're just like riffing stuff out, the same sort of ones you think you'd make if it wasn't Dutch?
No, probably not. That's what makes it difficult, I think. I try to sort of make this whole shift where it's like, okay, I have to think differently now, because it wouldn't make sense if I were to do it the same way. In I don't know, most of the Dutch grammar still would make sense if you would literally translate it, but there's definitely particular things where like, oh, this sounds, like you can immediately hear you're not a native speaker.
Right.
And I try to eliminate that as much as possible, but I know that's a thing that's just part of it. Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting to think about.
Yeah.
In writing the songs, I guess this would probably be different for each song, but if you had to generalize it, where do you feel like the spark that makes the song? At what point does that usually come about for you?
Well, whenever I feel like, oh, this is it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. That's a hard one. I feel like if the chorus part is something that sticks around in my head, where I'm like subconsciously singing it from time to time, it's like, oh yeah, this is something that clicks with me, so it must click with other people too. And then whenever that was really nice that I don't have like access to a lot of instruments myself, so whenever I would get back, for example, a bass take or a drum take and hear like, this is exactly what I envisioned it to be, and it just sounds so much more full and like impactful, I guess, then it just like gives that sort of enthusiasm where it's like, yeah, I just want to see this song grow more and more, and it just gets me right into that headspace to want to write more stuff.
And in writing, if I forced you to choose a top 3 biggest songwriting influences, who would those people be?
That's a good question. I would definitely say that Kitchen is one of those. I would say that Hello Shark is one. Oh, I have to think. A lot of the stuff by Jason Molina as well.
Nice.
I think. Yeah. And then also the subjects, I guess, that I write about is usually all it all sort of comes from that same inspiration, I think.
What was it like having Kitchen be one of your biggest influences and then meeting James the guy?
Right. Yeah, that was insane. I had a like a small band for I guess a couple months, and we had the beautiful opportunity to play with James as well as with Sabrina from Shep Treasure in Europe, to support them. I guess it ended up being 3 shows, and that was the first time I ever met them in person, and it was really, really cool to just talk about so many things we both enjoyed, whether it was music or just like hobbies and whatnot. And I think at first when I was just starting out with the label, I viewed other artists, for example, like James or Lincoln from Hello Shark, as like, oh, these are like people to look up to, but everyone's just any other human being, right? And to sort of see that side of everyone, that's really, really awesome. And it was really cool meeting him in person. Yeah.
Were you shaking in your boots when you first met?
I mean, I tend to be a little bit on the awkward side, so that definitely came through when we first met. A little bit. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, go on.
No, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, for context, Isabelle in person has just one of the highest percentages of swagger that I've probably ever encountered in a way that kind of takes you aback. And I'm just wondering on your perceived amount of awkwardness, and then if that was true, how long it took from that point to get to standard Isabelle swagger, if you had to assume.
If I had to guess, ooh, that it could be as fast as like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but it has to, like, there has to be something that we can talk about, I think, for me to sort of feel at ease, because otherwise I will constantly feel like, I need to talk about something.
Right.
And if that subject's already there, then I can sort of ease into it.
Mm-hmm. This paints a new visual in that interaction for me.
Is that so?
But back to the album.
Right.
There was a lot of collaboration, 10 people. Where did that start, and did you envision having that many collaborators when you first started on the album?
No, not at all, honestly. It was the idea of collaborating on music was something that I did want to embrace a lot more than I had before. Mainly vocally, I really wanted my girlfriend to sing one of the songs, which she did on the title track, so that was really nice. And then since I really wanted the songs to be more like fleshed out, I really wanted someone to drum on it, as well as like play bass, and then all the additional parts like electric guitar. There's omnichord on there, banjo. All these other instruments had to come from somewhere, because unfortunately I don't own all those. And then through some friends, I think it was through Swinford, he said, you should really contact Ryan from Big Pony for some drums. He would do a good job at that. And I got to talking with Ryan, and Ryan ended up being the best person to ask for all those things, because he did so much things on this album. There's that really needs to be said. I think he ended up doing mixing, mastering, drums, and a bunch of other instruments, like the drums. All of the drums on the album were done by Ryan, and all of the other awesome instruments, like the banjo, and I'm trying to think of the very uniquely named ones, but I can't think of them right now. But one of the songs with Draconid on it, which is really cool that she wanted to sing on one of my songs. He did like so much there with the instrumentation, and it really like elevated the track to a level that I didn't think it could ever achieve, if I might say so. So I'm really thankful for what he has done for this album. It's really cool.
How much working with Big Pony and the collaboration, the process overall, like what do those demos sound like compared to the finished version? How much of a change occurred there?
Quite a lot, actually. I'm trying to think of specific ones, but I definitely say beginning is the one that changed the most in my head, because it wasn't supposed to be as rocky, I guess, as it ended up being in my head. But I asked Paul from German Error Message to record bass for some of my songs, and he just delivered me this like very driven bass. It sounded really awesome, but it never clicked on my head that was the sort of sound that the song needed. And then I asked someone, like another beautiful person, which is on the other end of this call, called Daniel Weaver, to record some beautiful guitar for it, and you absolutely shredded on the song. It sounds so fucking cool. I absolutely love what the song has become. When I think back of what the song initially was in my head, it's like a completely different song, but it shouldn't have been anything else.
Do you think hearing how it changed influenced how you feel about like the feeling of the song and like the direction that it went onwards?
Yeah, I think so. For some of the songs, I wrote them and it didn't have meaning yet, I think. And then seeing the sound evolve and sort of the emotion that the song carries, that change also gave it more of a meaning to me. Whether it was yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of songs, but I think in general they definitely became more meaningful through the endless additions that have happened, because it was just back and forth between everyone, like getting so many cool additions on songs, and just, I don't know, every song started out as something incredibly small and then became such a beautiful large arrangement. It's really nice.
How do you feel being right on the edge of this album right about to come out at this point?
Ecstatic. I don't know. It's awesome. I just really want the songs to connect to people as much as they do to me. I've listened to the songs over and over again through all the renditions we've done, and I think through, like, whenever I listen to the artists that inspired me to make this kind of music that I've written, I feel like it fits into that same style well, but still has like those unique things that make it sound like, oh, this is a Rain-ish thing, I guess. Mm-hmm. I just hope that that's something that people will enjoy as much as I've become to do, because I really like what the album turned out to be.
For sure. And if you had to choose one song from the album that someone were to listen to, if they could only listen to one, what song would it be and why?
Oh, that is hard. That is really hard. It's dependent on, for me, I think if I think of a song, it would be Dog. That's one of the songs that I ended up, it was supposed to be nothing like what it has become, really. I had so many random changes in that song, so many new layers, and I think it shows a lot of the like changes I've went through in my sound as well. And then I think just that one feels like the best song for the season too. It feels like a fall song to me. Mm-hmm. I think people would enjoy it.
I do think the timing of the release feels incredibly apt. I think people are going to be putting this on fall walks, fall drives, drinking a nice hot drink, looking out the window sort of deal. Timing is ideal. Thinking for a moment beyond the album, have you had any thoughts on next moves and next album at all?
To a certain extent, yeah. I've obviously not sat still. I've been trying to write more things, but I would want to see some sort of change in like. I really loved this album for its collaboration, but it also showed me how much I still have to learn myself and how much I would want to learn myself, to hopefully have a next release where a lot more can also be done like only through me. I would still really hope for other people to add things to the tracks, but I think there's just so much that I can learn still, whether it's instrumentation or just also in the mixing and the mastering. Ryan did a really great job at that, but I wish I know how to do that myself as well.
Mm-hmm. I am incredibly excited to see where you pick up and go from here, because once again, you really just started relatively recently in time making like full produced songs as songs beyond, voice and guitar. So for this to be a first release in it, as crazy as it is, things are only going to get more awesome. So selfishly, I'm
excited
very
for
excited.
it as well. Yeah.
I will be frank. That was sort of the end of my questions.
That sounds about right.
But it is an awesome album. I've had a fun time contributing, but also just listening to all the songs back and forth and getting any updates for it. So I'm excited to see the album come out and for everyone to listen, give it up, dude. See the little earbuds and Spotify with friends, everyone listening to the album.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I'm super excited for it as well. I can't wait for other people to give their thoughts on the songs and to see which songs connect the most with people or for what reason.
For sure. I think people are gonna love it. It's gonna be awesome. But it's been a pleasure, Isabelle.
It's been a pleasure, yeah. Thanks, Daniel.
And everyone, give the album. When does it come out, Isabelle? Please tell
the 7th of November. The
7th of November. That is coming up soon, everyone. So give it a listen. So have a good one, Patchwork, and we love you.